Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us for this celebration. We remember the life and work and the legacy of Edward Seaga. We remember the personal and political impact of this national figure, a leader of virtue who helped to shape Jamaica. He was a huge figure in our country for more than half a century. And commenting on his own work, he said, "I made the sacrifice of my own well-being and that of my family because of the mission, which called me to enter political life to help those who could not lift their own burden. The smile of a gleeful child, the hug of an agonized mother, and the tears of appreciation of the elderly poor have been my reward." The Most Honorable Edward Seaga, the 5th Prime Minister of Jamaica. We will begin as we normally do in Jamaica with prayers. I invite the Reverend Astor Carlyle to bring the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we bend our souls before you in adoration. You have been merciful and kind to us as a people far beyond our deserving. Signs of your benevolence are all around. Brilliant sunshine, sprawling landscapes, buoyant waters, resilient industries, creative people. Lord, you have been good to Jamaica. We thank you for those who have offered themselves in service to deepen the capacities and unearth the potential of this, our nation. Among them, we remember the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. As we recall his passion for the well-being of people, grant us the spirit of humility, that we may divest ourselves of self-interest and commit to serving sacrificially. As we remember the strength of his convictions, challenge us by your Spirit to think uprightly, speak honestly, and act responsibly. As we retell the stories of his impact on our nation, grant that our stewardship will serve to inspire others to what is possible. And Lord, since we cannot do anything well without you, hallow this gathering with your presence. Guide these proceedings by the light of your Spirit, and warm our hearts with the flame of conviction, so that through our living and through our giving, Jamaica may under God increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Hear us for Christ's sake. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. And now, our musical tribute. Please welcome Miss Maylin Dillon, who will perform Revival Medley.
Alone, alone, alone. Jesus suffered and he died alone. Oh, he gave himself to save my soul. He suffered and he died alone. Oh, alone. Jesus suffered and he died alone.
Yeah,
He gave himself to save my soul. He suffered and he died alone. I stood outside the gate, a poor wayfaring child.
Yeah,
Within my heart there be
mighty God,
a tempest loud and wide,
a tempest loud and wide,
a
tempest
loud and wild. I was glad when they said unto me,
yes, come let us
go in the house of the Lord.
Oh,
Our feet shall abide in the house.
Yeah,
Jerusalem, our humble servant has come.
Zion children,
Jerusalem,
oh Lord,
Jerusalem, my happy home. Thank God I have a testimony.
Thank
Thank God I have a testimony.
Oh,
Say
Father,
the rich man died, gone to hell. The poor man testified and died. Thank God I have a testimony.
One more time.
Thank God I have a testimony.
Lord,
Thank God I have a testimony.
For
Say the rich man died, gone to hell. The poor man testified and died. Thank God I have a testimony. A pair of every animal was saved in the ark, saved in the ark, saved in the ark. A pair of every animal was saved in the ark. Key man locked the door and gone.
Somebody cry out,
Key man, key man, key man, key man, key man locked the door and gone. Key man, key man, key man, key man, key man locked the door and gone.
one more time, say
A pair of every animal was saved in the ark, saved in the ark, saved in the ark.
Oh yes,
A pair of every animal was saved in the ark.
So
Key man locked the door and
cry
gone.
out,
Key man, key man, key man, key man, key man locked the door and gone.
Hallelujah, say
Key man, key man, key man, key man, key man locked the door and gone. Daniel, God surely will deliver.
Yes,
Daniel, God surely will deliver. If you only look to him by faith, Daniel, God surely will deliver.
Yes,
Daniel, God surely will deliver.
Mighty God,
Daniel, God surely will deliver. 'Cause if you only look to him by faith, Daniel, God surely will deliver.
Hallelujah.
All right, give it up one more time for Miss Maylin Dillon. That is our something, our songs created by our own people. And it's a long time I don't hear some of those. So, I now invite the Honorable Olivia Grange, the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, to give the welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Oliver. I just want you all to applaud Maylin and her mother one more time. They are members of Revival Church in West Kingston. And I just want to say that they perform a medley of Mr. Seaga's most favorite revival songs. And I want to indicate to you this morning that the revival movement, like in the early days of dancehall, is now very much a part of the various church organizations that are officially recognized by government. And that there are many professionals, lawyers, doctors, and other such individuals who are prominent members of this church movement. Reverend Astor Carlyle, thank you for prayers. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Robert Montague, Minister of Transport and Mining and Chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development and Member of Parliament for Western Kingston, Senator the Honorable Thomas Tavares Finson, President of the Senate, Honorable Favour Williams, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Senator the Honorable Matthew Samuda, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Orlando Terrelon, Minister of State, His Worship the Mayor, Senator Councillor Delroy Williams, Mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, Mr. Christopher Seaga, son of the Most Honorable Edward Seaga, and this morning, I just want you all to help me to wish Christopher a happy birthday. Christopher and his father share the same birthday. And today, we are honoring the Most Honorable Edward Seaga on his birthday and on the day that he passed. Mr. Seaga was so organized. In his closet, all his clothes were organized by colors. He was so organized that he could put his hand in his pocket and come up with the right note that he wants to come up with to give someone. He was almost perfect. He was almost perfect. And so he timed his passing as well. And so today, there's a little difference between floral tributes for other prime ministers. The last post will be played. And the last post is normally played at a floral tribute. It's done at a wreath laying. Wreath laying is a ceremony that we observe when we observe someone's passing and the anniversary of their passing. A floral tribute is a ceremony that we have honoring the anniversary of the birth of someone. And so today it will be a combination, and the last post will be played. So welcome and good morning to everyone. Though few in numbers, as we adhere to the prevailing protocols, we come together to celebrate the life of one of Jamaica's founding fathers, the late Most Honorable Edward Phillip George Seaga. Mr. Eddie, as those of us born and bred and grew up in West Kingston call him, was a great motivator who had a profound influence on our lives and many other lives. Mr. Seaga was distinguished in service and gave his all in his political and social life. He was a man who dreamt big and delivered even greater. He was a repository, and those around him benefited from his vast knowledge. While we will always remember Mr. Eddie for his political service, we also remember him as a Jamaican cultural icon. He was there at the birth of original Jamaican music. And over the years, he continued to believe in and invest in the creative industries. As we reflect on his life, we are cognizant that Jamaica could not be where it is today without his immense contribution. And for that, we are a grateful nation. Most Honorable Edward Seaga has built and established more institutions in Jamaica than any other political representative or public figure in this country. It is amazing to think about all that Mr. Seaga was able to accomplish in his lifetime. It's really amazing. And that is why this morning we also have in our presence the head of the Edward Seaga Research Institute in the presence of Mr. Christopher Bevel, as well as Mrs. Dorothy Carter Bradford. On the occasion of one of Mr. Seaga's final public engagements, the naming of the North-South Highway in his honor was a crowning moment for many persons as they got a chance to witness and really understand Mr. Seaga's undeniable impact and contribution to national development. I want to encourage everybody to take the opportunity to research his life's work. There is so much to learn. Those of us who were mentored by him, who are present here this morning, if you notice, there are approximately 10 floral tributes that will be laid this morning. And that reflects the impact that Mr. Seaga has had on our lives and on this country. Papa Eddie, we miss you, but you have left so much with us that we are eternally grateful. And so this morning, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for coming, and let us celebrate and remember the great work of this great Jamaican. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. And I now invite the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, to reflect on the Most Honorable Edward Seaga.
Thank you, Oliver, for your masterful direction of the ceremony so far. Let me thank the Leader of the Opposition, Mark Golding, for attending, and thank Minister Grange for organizing this ceremony. Let me acknowledge the members of the Cabinet who are here, and the President of the Senate, His Worship the Mayor as well, and special acknowledgement to Mr. Christopher Seaga, representing the family. Special guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And before I go to my reflections, I want to share a few thoughts, which I will tie back in my reflections to Mr. Seaga. You will notice that I am speaking with my mask on. As far as the Ministry of Health is concerned and the Cabinet of Jamaica is concerned, we are still under the Disaster Risk Management Act as it relates to the management of the pandemic. And I want that to be clearly understood. The government, more than any other entity, more than any other agency, has a duty to ensure that the Disaster Risk Management Act is observed not only in words, but also in the actions that we take. When I review the landscape of commentary of the public, which I must, because as Prime Minister, your views matter to me, and I do track them, it is clear that there is great dissonance, indeed frustration, with the measures that are in place. But we understand that it is a matter of mood. When we were in the midst of the pandemic, the mood was quite different. When we were in the grips of the last spike, the mood was different. In fact, the perspective was that the government needs to tighten up, and the government is weak and not doing enough. And then we would have seen the situation in other countries. I don't like to mention, difficult situations in other countries. We pray that all countries are able to overcome the challenges. But I urge Jamaicans not to get complacent, not to lose sight of the very dangerous and delicate situation in which we are. Other countries are progressing out of the situation because they have access to vaccines, and their population, some of them are more than 50% vaccinated, some as high as 80% vaccinated. We are still hovering at around 5%. So we can't take any risk, because the same people that cuss us today about being too tight are the same ones who will turn around and cuss us tomorrow if we loosen up. So we have to be very practical and very cautious. Having said all of that, I go back to my first statement. The government must set the example. Yesterday, I was at another official event of a similar nature, and we ensured that the protocols established by the Ministry of Health and under the Disaster Risk Management Act, that those protocols are carried out. Today, I am satisfied that we are observing the protocols, mask wearing, social distancing, and we are not contravening the Disaster Risk Management Act. And as we progress through the pandemic, the government will have to make adjustments to slowly return the way in which we as Jamaicans live our lives, so that we can return to some form of normalcy. We have relied heavily on measures such as quarantine and on curfews, which have really impacted the lives of the average Jamaican. Not just their social lives, but it has impacted their economic lives. And we understand that. So we have now put in place measures as it relates to the government's ability to prosecute persons who breach the Disaster Risk Management Act, particularly as it relates to wearing of masks and other such activities. There is a particular situation which has come on our radar this morning, one that I have to pay careful attention to, because it throws up something that we are always contending with, Mark, in our society. The unequalness of the society, the haves and the have-nots. Why is it that some people are allowed to party and others are not? The unequal nature of the society. I'm sure Mr. Seaga would not take offense to me raising these issues here because this is the essence of his life. This is what he struggled for, to try and build a society that is equitable and fair. And that was the essence of his probably the most known speech that he gave, the haves and the have-nots. And this government has a duty to ensure that the law is equally applied, both to those who have not and those who have. So read from my statement what you will. Government will have to ensure that it was not complicit in any breach of its own law. And I have asked for a report, and my own investigations will be conducted. And the various arms of the state that have a duty to ensure the equal application of the law, I am expecting that they will move in that direction to ensure that if there is any breach, that the full application of the law will be guaranteed. And I'm certain that this is what Edward Seaga would have done, because this is the man that he is, someone who believes in fairness, in equity, but more than that, in law and order. I think most Jamaicans, when they hear the name Edward Seaga, that is what would come to mind, someone who is a believer in structure, in the rule of law, in doing things in an orderly fashion. And that is the legacy which this government must carry out. And I'm certain that the opposition also agrees that we have to ensure that the rule of law in this country is well established. Because in the minds of the citizens, there is a belief that somehow there is a scheme in the government, a conspiracy not to have the full application of the law. And I give my commitment that as Prime Minister, whether you have or you have not, the law will be applied equally. Having said that, Minister Grange provided me with a script this thick, but I will spare you, because these events are not meant to be long. But I wanted to share with you some personal thoughts on Mr. Seaga. In fact, just specifically on one aspect of his magnificent public life. And I'm sharing it with you because it is something that I too have had to contemplate. Mr. Seaga started out his academic life wanting to become a medical doctor. Started out studying the sciences. And I'm sure you would have heard the story before that, you know, he didn't like the going through the clinicals. Yes, and he didn't like it. He thought it was just too cold and inhumane. And when he went to Harvard, he discovered the social sciences, and he switched to anthropological studies. And he started to do research in child development and so forth. And he came back to Jamaica, and he went to do further research work at a community called Buxton Town, that's in St. Catherine. And I had the opportunity to speak with him on this just a year or so before he passed. And his memory of that period of time was so clear. And the descriptions that he gave of a time in Jamaica's history when there was still much innocence in our population. When there was still the sense of love and respect in communities. And he spoke of how he was first looked upon with, a kind of suspicion, not quite certain what to make of this, this person coming into our community, and then being totally embraced, being asked to officiate at funerals and weddings and helping to treat yaws and deworming the community and beginning to understand what we still have a notion of this gentle, loving, kind Jamaican person. And then he left there having absorbed the culture of what it means to be Jamaican. And he went into Salt Lane. Minister Mackenzie, you know that lane? And there he got exposed to, I would use another word, but let me stick with revivalism. And because if I use that other word, it stirs up all kinds of other things which are misunderstood and not it would take too long for me to properly explain. So he studied revivalism from an academic and spiritualism, from an academic perspective, because like it or not, it is a part of our culture. And there he would have met up on Capo. Now, Capo was an intuitive. You don't get those in your society too often. And when you discover them, when you find them, you have to treasure them. But you need people in the society who understand this and recognize it. He was an intuitive painter and sculptor, but he was also a revivalist. And Mr. Seaga embraced him. And I remember speaking to him, Mr. Seaga, as I said, a year or so before he died, and he was explaining to me how he met Capo, and Capo was carving maho with a penknife. Now you try that. Lignum vitae. You're perfectly right. With a penknife. And of course, they struck up a friendship. The story is told, well, he told the story that the police took away several of Capo's paintings. And they took them away on the basis that they said that Capo was practicing obia. And Mr. Seaga protested and wrote articles in the papers and got back Capo's work. Today, these works are part of our national treasure in art. Extremely valuable. So the point I'm making about this government ensuring that there is the protection of the people and fair application of the law. That's our legacy. It's no different then than the issues that we face now. And today, Capo, is one of our, we consider Capo to be one of our preeminent artists. He organized Byron Lee and his band to go to moving from Chocomalon, but to go to New York to the World's Fair. And that was the first real exposure of Jamaica's ska music on the international stage. Mr. Seaga himself went into music as a producer. And he supported the development of the culture. And in fact, he would have brought the culture from downtown to uptown. He would have mainstreamed the culture. And if you think I'm just reflecting and being diplomatic in my statement, no, this was real. Mr. Seaga understood the importance of culture to national development. And he did not seek to create an artificial culture, meaning he could have taken the colonial standards and imposed them as Jamaican culture, but that's not what he did. What he did was to form Jamaica Festival in 1963, which set up a competitive environment in which our culture could flourish. He set up, what I said, in 64, the promotion to launch Jamaica Ska Music Abroad. In 1964, he established Things Jamaican to revive and develop and to teach Jamaican handcraft. That's the foundation of it. Much more work needs to be done to carry that on. He returned Marcus Garvey's body to Jamaica and started the movement to remove the criminal record ascribed to Marcus Garvey overseas. He created the Order of National Hero, Marcus Garvey being the first. Right where we are standing, this place was called the George VI Park. How many of you remember that? I know that. No. So he changed it to the National Heroes Park and started what we have here, which we will continue in the development of the park, placing our parliament here. You know, he did the development of the Arawak Museum at Port Royal. And I give you another reflection on that. When we decided that we would seek to develop the pier at Port Royal and get cruise ships in, and I went to him and told him that we were going to do this. And he says, Andrew, let me give you something. And he went into his annex and he came out with a stack of plans. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this thick, where he got, from those times in the 70s, he got UNESCO to do an incredible development plan for the entire Port Royal. I've given those over to the Port Authority. So these are being incorporated. And then he brought another set of plans for Seville and for Spanish Town. Now that's another era of his life that next year I'll talk about. But I'm focusing now on... No, next year I'll focus on his work in our spatial and physical development. But now I'm focusing on his work in culture. And, you know, he was the person who purchased Demon House and prevented its demolition and restored it. He did quite a bit of research and recording of folk culture so that we now have a bank of culture that we can refer to, culture that is fast disappearing from us in mainstream. He launched the Jamaica Journal publications. He did National Heritage Week, including National Heroes Day. And I could go on and on and on and on. Why am I saying this? Because a part of the haves and the haves not is who owns the culture, who benefits from the culture, and what is the role and value of culture in national development. Let's be clear that Jamaica depends heavily on our culture. Heavily. Make no mistake about it. When Usain Bolt runs, and he runs fast, that is great. Sports is a part of the culture. But what is the great takeaway from Usain Bolt? Is to the world pose. And everybody is doing that. And that's what it is, our culture to the world. Marcus Garvey and his Pan-African work to the world about resisting oppression and being assertive of your right to exist. Bob Marley and his music. We are now in a state in our culture where it is less of an advancing of social commentary and guidance to good living as it is about entertainment. So our culture has moved into the realm of entertainment. And it is still very important because that is the nexus, as it is now. That's just one modality in which culture can become an economic driver. We haven't really embraced it, whether it is, it's the dancehall culture, to have this conversation so that people who are at the forefront of the development of the culture understand that culture can go two ways. It can be a culture that is regenerative and positive, or it can be a culture that is degenerative and destructive. But there has to be someone. So our culture is natural, people are intuitive, it's developing organically, but it can go either way. So there has to be some kind of intervention, some kind of guidance, some kind of direction, so that the culture is maximizing the full benefit for the society. In the same way that Edward Seaga would have seen the intuitive and organic skill in a capo, took him, gave him support, and gave him a national platform on which it can be accepted. In the same way, we promoted ska, which morphed into reggae, which showed the power of the music through Bob Marley with the National Peace Concert. It's the same way that we are at this juncture now, where we will have to embrace our culture and give it guidance. And the culture is more, Minister Grange, than dance and music. We have to take the cultural excellence in those areas and also place it in our academics, in our art and craft, in our science and technology. So we have quite a bit of work to do as we reflect today on the birth and death, indeed the life of Edward Seaga between those two points in time. These are my reflections.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. We have now come to the laying of floral tributes. And while floral tributes are being laid, Mr. Dwight Richards will play the trumpet for us this morning. I invite the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, to lay the first of these floral tributes. Thank you, Prime Minister. And now I invite the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding. Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. I now invite the Honorable Robert Montague, the Minister of Transport and Mining and Chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party. Thank you, Mr. Montague. I now invite the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honorable Olivia Grange, who will make a special tribute on behalf of the cultural community. Thank you, Minister. I now invite the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, and the Member of Parliament for West Kingston. feels like a sin to interrupt you, Dwight, but we have another tribute now. This is a tribute in dance. Please welcome the Tivoli Dance Troupe. They'll be performing Koreshimia to his honor.
Enjoy yourself too much, you know.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
One more time, please, for the Tivoli Dance Troupe. And now I invite the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, and the Member of Parliament for West Kingston to bring tribute, to say a tribute.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. I don't intend to be as long as the Prime Minister was. I think he has a right. He had the right to be long. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As you all know, this is a difficult period for the people of West Kingston. Today we would have been celebrating in a different way the 91st birthday of our beloved leader and the Member of Parliament, the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. Chris, happy birthday to you, Chris. Today we are here to remember his work, remember his life, and to give God thanks for what he did for us as a people. West Kingston is a proud and important political constituency in Jamaica. Our history is strong, and the Prime Minister spent a little time speaking about the history of West Kingston. I want to spend 2 minutes to remind the audience and to remind Jamaicans of the importance of West Kingston. West Kingston in 1944 selected Sir Alexander Bustamante to be its Member of Parliament. He became Jamaica's first Chief Minister. They returned Sir Alexander Bustamante in 1949, and he completed 2 stints as leader of the Jamaica Labour Party and Premier at the time, or Chief Minister at the time, in West Kingston. In 1955, the Most Honorable Hugh Shearer was elected to succeed Sir Alexander Bustamante. He served 1 term. And in 1962, Edward Seaga was elected as the Member of Parliament for West Kingston, and the records will tell you that he served for 43 consecutive years, the only person in our modern Jamaican politics that has never lost a general election at the polls as a representative of the people. He was succeeded then by the Honorable Bruce Golding, who became Member of Parliament, leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, and also Prime Minister of Jamaica. West Kingston has the distinct honor of having 4 prime ministers serving as its Member of Parliament, and we are a constituency that deserve the recognition and deserve the respect, because we have produced some of our greatest modern leaders since universal adult suffrage. Today we, as I said before, honor his life, honor his legacy. His memories will not be something that we can wash away or paint away, because his work can never be undone. Today we salute him. We remember him. We will continue the celebration of his life on Sunday with a Thanksgiving church service in the constituency. And I would like to say that on Tuesday, the 3rd, his contribution in the field of education will be recognized in an official way when 2 of the many educational institutions that he built in West Kingston will be renamed in his honor. The Denham Town Primary and Infant School will be renamed in his honor. Today, we salute you, Papa Eddie. Happy birthday. We miss you. God bless you, and we will continue to love and cherish you.
Thank you very much, Minister. May I invite us all to stand to observe a moment of silence? may we never forget his service. We thank the 1st Battalion of Jamaica Regiment Corps of Drum Buglers. Be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Just to inform you, Floral tributes, and Dwight will play while these tributes are being laid. Let me invite Mr. Christopher Seaga, the son of the Most Honorable Edward Seaga, who is representing Mr. Seaga's children. May I invite the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie to lay a tribute on behalf of the Most Honorable Mrs. Edward Seaga, the widow of the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. I now invite His Worship, the Mayor, Senator, Councillor Delroy Williams, Mayor of Kingston. now invite Mrs. Anne-Marie Spence-Heron, the president of the Tivoli Football Club. And now I invite Mr. Christopher Bovell, the chairman of the board of the Edward Seaga Research Institute. I now invite the Honorable Alando Terrelong, Minister of State in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. I now invite Mr. Ryan Strawn, the president of Generation 2000. I now invite the Honorable Senator Tom Tavares Finson, the President of the Senate. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you to all who laid floral tributes this morning. Please welcome again Miss Maylin Dillon, who will bring a tribute in music. She'll be performing Encourage Yourself. Clapar. Clapar, no?
Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, speak the word and you will be healed. Speak over yourself, encourage yourself in the Lord. Sometimes you have to speak the word over yourself. The pressure is all around. Remember, God is present help, 'cause the enemy created walls. But remember, giants, they do fall. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. As I minister to you, as I minister to myself, life can hurt you so till you feel there's nothing left. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, speak the word and you will be healed. Speak over yourself, encourage yourself in the Lord.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dillon. And now we invite the Tivoli Dance Troupe once again for another tribute in dance. This one is called To You.
It must have been cold there in my shadow.
Thank you very much, the Tivoli Dance Troupe. I would also like to express gratitude on behalf of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport and the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission to the following participants for their support and cooperation in making this event possible. To all the tribute layers, all performers, the Reverend Asta Carlisle, the members of the Jamaica Defense Force and Jamaica Constabulary Force, the team from the Office of the Prime Minister and the Chancery and Protocol Division, the team from the Creative Production and Training Center, the members of staff of Medicare Ambulance, the team from the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, the team from the National Heroes Park, members of the media, Blum and Bell, the florist, and all other supporting team members. Thank you very much for joining in the celebration of the life and work of the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. May I now invite us all to stand for the singing of the national anthem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.